This is Dave.
And this is the Mackie.
And we're Shiny Side Out. That's got an apostrophe in the middle of that. On WCCR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com. The place of fresh, unfiltered ideas and conversations. The place where you'll find a great chat room and archives of all the host shows. And it's also a great place to get your merchandise. Go there and you can get a mug, cap, I think there's a t-shirt, and all the artwork was done by a mad painter who's another one of the hosts on this channel, and it's fantastic. Now, you can catch us on air, online, and anywhere on your smart device. So grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. Mackie, did you know that
No.
Solaris... You didn't? Just on the blind. On the blind is going to say no. I thought it might have said yes, but that's all right. I'll tell you anyway. I'll fill you in like I'm going to fill in the listeners. And that is, if you missed Solaris's show with Renee Colston tonight, discussing energy healing with animals and people, don't worry about it. Don't worry that you missed it. It's a great show because she always has great guests and great conversations. But you don't have to fret. Just go to the archives. The archives are free. You can download the shows for free, and you can binge them of your favorite hosts, or just I don't know, just click randomly and download a whole bunch. See what you like, and click on something new. Now I'm gonna replicate what Mackie says, and this I think is really important. That is, you share the knowledge from the station, and you tell people about where you got the knowledge from. I think it's really important because let's build an audience, yeah? Let's do that. Mackie and I also, besides the archives, we take our own copy and put it on our own YouTube channel. So if you're interested in that, that's the medium you prefer. If you prefer that rather than MP3, then do follow us. Do hit like on those videos to bring them up in the algorithm's priority list. Wow. Mackie, I know that I live and broadcast from Darkinjung country. Where are you today?
I'm in good old Darak country.
Darak country, yes. I love the way you roll the R. And Mackie and I, because of that, we've done our research. We know where we are. We know who the traditional custodians of the land were, and we give our respects to elders past, present, and future. Do you know what, Mackie? Since the last show, since the last Shiny Side Out, the world's changed again.
It's changed.
Again.
Different.
Changed, different. That sounds like, you know, when you do a workshop to define, say, maybe a company direction or a logo or something.
Pepsi.
You know, it's new, it's in, it's hip, it's plastic, whatever, right? I saw an ad for a bank that just basically said the 3 words on the whiteboard: trustworthy. What's one?
That's not 3 words.
Loyal.
That's not 3 words either.
What? There was another one. I forget what it was.
Fictitious. That's what the word is.
I forget what they were, but they used it in the advertising, in the ad, which was like a voiceover radio commercial, and they actually used those words in the ad.
In the ad.
Wow, really?
Because we're down to words now, dude. Sentences I saw yesterday. What are you, in the 20th? Come to the 21st century. Stuck in the 20th
Kicking
century,
and
man.
screaming.
Sentences. You're funny. Full stop. What?
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they just simply used emojis.
Honestly?
Yeah, they could do that.
So we have to realize here one thing. Language is a living thing, right? So if you have ever been punished with Shakespeare in school, you know this, right? Mm-hmm. So Shakespearean English, also called Middle High English, is a lot closer to German than it is to English, especially when it comes to the forms of have and forms of to be.
Oh yes, of course.
And even personal pronouns like you and such, like thou, thy. Thou hast. That's actually German because it's du hast. You have.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's a lot closer to German. So it was a lot easier for me to do Shakespeare than it was for my Australian-born counterparts in high school, which is funny in many ways. But my point is, that's the language then. Let's call it 300-400 years ago, and they say also that the way New Zealanders speak, the New Zealand accent and the words they use, that's actually preserved. It's preserving the way the English used to speak when New Zealand was colonized. So
yeah.
New Zealand was colonized, and they didn't change their accent. They just changed they stayed as they were. And of course, in the meantime, England changed, and more people came in, and the accent in England changed. But in England, they used to speak like the New Zealanders do today. I guess a couple hundred years ago, right?
Yeah. So yep. Go on.
No, so I think you're 100% correct. Eventually, it'll just be a couple of words thrown at each other, some acronyms. LOL, LMAOR, FTQ, SSPR,
Plus.
and maybe some sounds and grunts, and a couple of emojis as well to make it. If you really want to say something, you send an emoji. That's it.
Yeah, it'll be a pair of bananas, and the sun, a smiley face, and an eggplant. I didn't even know what any of those mean, but I'm sure I swore at someone just then.
It's true, man. It's so true.
I didn't. You know what? My kids try not to use them because I don't know what they're saying. And this is where I felt like my grandmother, and my grandmother says, "How does the microwave cook stuff? Because it doesn't get hot." She goes, "But the food gets hot. But how does it get hot?" And I had to try and explain it to her just to a blank face. And she didn't understand it at all. And for me, my kids could hit me with live, real-sized versions of the emojis, and I still wouldn't get it. No. Sorry. They don't appear to be words. Can you use words to explain what you're doing? We're using the emojis to hit you. Look, that's the emoji for hitting you. I don't know. And then I just go, sad face. And they go, yes, you're getting it.
There you are. Huh?
Look, you got a tear. Yes.
Now you're one of us.
Am I? Really?
Yes.
So when I say the amount of change, Mickey, it's nuts. So the Queen is dead. And I'm not talking about the Smiths album, which I do enjoy. The Queen is Dead, the album by the Smiths. There was a meme that came around this week, right at the wrong time, and it basically said, "What's your favorite album that you've listened to every song on it, and you can sing them all in order without changing the order?" I said, "The Queen is Dead," and I didn't mean that with disrespect. I really didn't. It was just, and like Violent Femmes self-titled album, I'll listen to that all the way through without skipping, right, and sing along to them. So Blister in the Sun is my karaoke fame. I should be quiet.
Sun, oh, we blister in the sun. I'm here all weekend. You can palm me for parties, birthdays, and bar mitzvahs.
And bar mitzvahs, yeah, that's nice. So yes, the Queen has passed away. She was 96, and she became ill, and everyone went by her side. Her family came by. They arrived from around the world, wherever they were, and she passed away. And the first thing, Mickey, I didn't know what the process was because, 70 years ago I wasn't alive. So
what?
No.
Well, that's it. We're done.
So, well, what we do in the shadows. Remember that New Zealand documentary?
It's still on.
I know it's still on. We watched it last night with my daughter, and she thought it was quite funny actually. She said, "I don't get all of the jokes, Mum and Dad, but I think it's pretty good." While she's looking up from the phone occasionally.
You're so old. You're so old. How old are you?
So, I didn't realize how quickly all the roles stepped up one notch. But I'm quite surprised.
Oh no! I mean, as soon as the last breath is taken,
done.
King Charles is king. Prince Charles is King Charles III.
That's
as
right.
soon as the Queen as soon as she's pronounced dead officially, that's it, done. That's all it takes. And now I was actually moved to comment when I heard that she was ill and everybody's flying to Balmoral, I said, that was before she had passed, right? I didn't actually put it on Facebook, but I was going to say, look, if Charles becomes king, then that's probably going to be the end of the monarchy. I have no faith that he can carry it off.
He's only got 20 years.
Well, I mean, maybe he'll live to 1,000. Who knows? But but it is not. Big shoes to fill. I mean, you can love her or hate her. She was there for, well, virtually, I think, everybody's life.
That's right.
Unless you're really old, you've never seen another monarch of England.
Yeah,
certainly. So I mean, that goes a long way, right?
So we changed the names of streets in Sydney.
Yeah.
So High Street became George Street in the city.
Yeah.
It never became Elizabeth Street.
No, it didn't. She had dignity though, Dave. And
yes, I know.
She also wasn't actively interfering. I mean, she might have done things behind the scenes. You never know. But Prince Charles is an open book, or King Charles III, as we should call him.
You should ask Prince Harry's wife, right?
Yeah.
Who there was a meme going around where she was wearing The Queen is Dead, the Smiths album album cover.
Actually, go on.
I found, look, I'm not a monarchist. I understand what it means. I've listened to Jordan Peterson this week talking about it, but this was before she passed, and he said that he said he echoed your words, which was he's not sure how long that Charles would be able to keep up the monarchy. No, it just seems unlikely.
If it went to Prince William,
yes,
there's a chance.
Yes,
but this is the thing. There was another meme that went through the social media circuit this week, this last couple of days, which was Meghan Markle, right, Harry's wife, and she had this elation. She was just smiling, and I could tell she was very happy. And then when the caption was, "When you hear that it's safe to drive in tunnels again."
That's right.
No, that's funny, and
if you know what that means. Yeah.
You're listening to the right station.
You are listening to the right station. That's the first time that's been as poignant as it is now. Yes.
Yeah. But I tell you what, though, since we're on the topic, something really strange happened. The night she died, we all woke up.
Yeah.
My youngest was now in bed because he's not feeling 100%, and we all woke up around the time she actually passed away. We didn't realize at the time, but it was about 3 a.m. That we all woke up, and I thought that's quite. I mean, even the little one, that's quite extraordinary.
Yeah. These global events make you have a lot of energy.
Well, they do. You're 100% correct. They have a lot of energy. 100% correct. And it's like, we make fun of it, but it was like a disturbance in the force. It was like something had happened. Good, bad, or indifferent doesn't really matter, but something, right? And these ripples, if you're attuned to it, and I guess we are, it affects you. But once we're done talking about the Queen, there's a couple other things we need to discuss. But having said that, in Australia, we are now looking at a public holiday next Thursday, I think.
Yeah, the 22nd.
That's correct.
It's a one-off.
Sorry, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, one-off public holiday, correct. And then we also we no longer have Queen's birthday in June.
Well, I haven't heard what they're going to make that. I think it wasn't even her birthday anyway on that date.
No, it wasn't.
So there's no reason why it has to move.
It could be Republic Day. How about let's make it Republic Day?
Yeah, why not? So, but that's my next point. So, my the second one. So the point of everyone moving up a notch. There was a funny meme about Prince Charles taking the King Charles III role. If you could only hear it through the accent of an Irishman. And that would be King Charles the Turd.
The Turd.
The Turd.
Actually,
didn't think it through.
There's an Irish fellow working with us. I'm going to ask him to say King Charles III. I'm going to ask him on Monday.
Yeah, well, I got Irish heritage. I know what I'm saying. So what's odd about it is, remember, I think King Edward wasn't named Edward. It was his middle name, and he chose not to use it. So it's interesting that he's chosen to use that without understanding language. But anyway, I'll move on. That was throughout the British Empire, through the colonies, including Britain, there's the Queen's head on all the currencies. And
yes, that's going to be interesting.
It is, because what I've discovered here is very interesting, and it's when I heard how it was all going to be affected, right? Immediately, okay, the Queen's head is on the coins, so yes, and she's on the notes as well. But on day one, this is the next day, the very next day in Australia, which wasn't even 24 hours later. There was, the coins are going to change, the notes are going to change, but maybe a year from now, because New Zealand also, they just done a big order less than a year ago or something like that. And then the day after that, in Australia, they went, hang on a minute, maybe we won't change the notes. Maybe not. And that conversation came from was it the RBA or someone, right? And I thought that was extraordinary that they should do. And then it started to dawn on me. Maybe the life cycle of the note in circulation won't hit its EOL date because we'll have gone digital currency. Ooh.
I like it. In that case, you don't have to worry about it.
Because coins, no one's going to care, right? Do the coin, and the collector's going to go, yeah, cool. I got one that was minted still the days after, right? The Queen died, right? And they're talking about, you should collect the coins. If you want to collect the coins, do it now. I recommend you do it now. Because that new 50-cent piece was just released the week before.
Well,
right?
That's all. It was, by the way, that was solved. You know that, really?
Yeah, no, by a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, that's it.
Who's our SDA is going to pick him up. That's a code break.
He's going to be in the bunker. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, well, that's my thoughts were when that code breaking thing came out. Are they just looking for people to go in the starships? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a real easy way of getting out there and going, well, we don't know who to take, sir. And this 14-year-old kid who's, I'm not putting him down, but I reckon he's on spectrum. If you could solve it like within 15 minutes of seeing it. Done.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, good. And I applaud him, right? I'm doing little golf claps. Good for you, because I had a look and I went, oh, it kind of looks like Braille. And my mate's gone, yeah, I think it's like Braille. And then we both lost interest in attempting to solve it. I made a whole spreadsheet with it all in it, right? Then I'm working it all out. And this kid just looked at it and visually went, well, yeah. So on Spelling Bee today, I'm just going to give you an idea of where I'm at. Spelling Bee is a game from the New York Times, like Wordle and Hurdle and all those, the country one. And the moment that I saw the letters, which if you haven't played it, it's actually pretty cool. I saw the word Philadelphia, which it used all the letters more than once. And it's like, yeah, that's it. And it goes, oh, you can't use that. It's a place name. Good on you. But I still did it anyway. Anyway, look, so the digital currency I think is really important. Now, New Zealand said that they just made a huge purchase of new banknotes. We're not going to go with that. But all the new coins to be minted from now on. They've already made the coin. I think I've got a picture of the coins somewhere. Which I can't find them anymore. Oh yeah, middle screen. So it's already got Prince Charles's head on. I think they already knew what they were going to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this Prince Philip designed the Range Rover, which carried his coffin 30 years before his funeral.
Yeah, wow, that's right.
You know, I mean, these guys think. I mean, they got time. If there's one thing they have, because they don't clean their house. They don't have to worry about mundane things like paying the bills
and going to the shops.
Yeah, all that stuff that actually is quite time consuming. I'll be honest with you. I mean, when I clean my house downstairs, that takes me a couple hours, and I do it every 2 days. So it is time that, and if you had all that time back in your day, sweet bananas. Not only that, but all of the things like washing your clothes, cooking, digesting, things like that. Someone else can do that for you.
That's right.
You picked that one up. Well done. just seeing if people are paying attention.
Yes.
But yeah, look, this is what it is. And so they have all this time on their hands, and they can do all those things. I mean, look, to be honest, they need that time, just to fulfill all the obligations they have as well. But I wouldn't mind, to be honest, to have that level of help. There's domestic helpers and such.
Imagine it.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
It's not attainable.
How good would that be?
It's so not attainable. Unless you had, I don't know, for some reason you're just walking down the street and a black limo comes skimming by and they throw out, just to you, and you're the only person who catches it. There's no one else around. You open up the suitcase and it's filled with bonds or Bitcoin or something crazy, right? It's got the keys to the Bitcoin or something. I don't know. Thank you. As they speed off, and then I'd change my address immediately. Go live in my car somewhere. I don't know, just in case it was mistaken. So that's got me questioning everything about this digital currency, Mickey. I really think that's got to be the clue right there.
Look.
Because wait. So the monarchy itself, Jordan Peterson put this really well. And he said that all of the other democracies don't have an overseeing body like the monarchists, like the monarchy is, where it sees the long game. And
that's true.
It's like spinning the chocolate wheel every 3 or 4 years, and just getting whoever president or prime minister. It doesn't matter. The long game. They've still got to go on, hand and knee and beg for stuff from the monarchy. Am I really doing the right thing here? Yeah, because you don't want to, drive through a tunnel. And so my thoughts, and I tended to agree. Jordan does put up a very good argument, and he did take us to that argument very well. And I do appreciate the man's mind. He gets a lot of heat, but he says what he thinks. And I also made the quote this week, Mackie, that the woke will eat themselves. And I don't mean physically eat themselves, but they'll put things in place for themselves. And then eventually, just like if you got a tattoo when you were, 18, and you're 50 now, and you don't see the relevance in that tattoo at all, you're not the same thoughts. You don't have the same thoughts. You're not the same person. You don't have the same drives. And you just go, oh, geez, I really wish I hadn't got that right. But the woke are making rules in society right now, which are inevitably they're going to get hung by, deplatformed or de-lifestyled or what have you, right? Do you know what I mean? And then that's all of those segues. Yeah. It was like a little triangle of segues there. And
you lose your life registry.
Yeah. In the olden days, they could just, delete you and you end up in the desert, lost, right? Take your social security and your 401k away from you, and then, they lease out your place to someone else. And what happened to my life? Oh, you don't exist anymore.
Who are you?
Yeah.
What?
Well, it doesn't even have to be that tragic. You don't have to go to that length anymore. You could just sort of, take them off, I don't know, Insta, and they'd be devistated.
Yeah, they no longer exist. That's right. That's
in the
really
social
what
circles, they're gone.
Yeah. Dave, there's a couple of things that I want to mention around the monarchy, but then I have to move on to a much more somber subject.
Okay. Okay.
What? More somber than the Queen dying?
I'm up for it. Let's go.
So I'm not saying that. Okay, do I think that the royals are shape-shifting reptilian. I don't know, law from shape-shifting reptilians from the lower fourth dimension. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know David Icke does believe that, and that's okay. That's cool. I dig it. I have my doubts, but anything is possible in this crazy world. That's number one. So I think they might just be folks, and I mean, most of them are German anyway, right? Came to England to rule. Thank you very much. But this is something. The second point is, who are they? And I mean this in the truest sense of the word, because we always seem to look at this monarchy, or any monarchy really, any royal house. We look at with a certain amount of deference, with a certain amount of respect, even awe, to some extent, I would say, right? In my mind, completely misplaced. Now, why would I say that? Simply because that the ancestors of these people that established these bloodlines were the worst of their time. They were the bloodiest, bloodthirstiest pirates and robber barons alive. They were the most brutal. That's why their bloodline survived. So if you're talking about people that used to own slaves, if you talk about people that held views other than what we consider today, so the whole cancel culture, right? That's in full swing, where we demolish statues, we tear down buildings, we remove books from shelves, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Well, the worst perpetrators of that kind of historical crime, if you will, are the British royals. Their families and their bloodlines were the worst genocidal maniacs, pillagers that we've ever seen. I mean, the Spanish, the Germans, even the Belgians and what they did in the Congo pale in comparison. Okay, nothing compares to the British when it comes to the damage that was done to the world. So my point is, what are we doing here? I mean, we're looking at this thing and we're saying, oh, wonderful these people are. No, they're not. They are living a life of privilege. And it is privilege, make no mistake. I mean, their wealth is almost unimaginable. Because their ancestors robbed it from the rest of the world. And in doing so, killed countless people, destroyed cultures, destroyed entire ways of life. I don't see any reason why I should be deferential to any of these people. As far as I'm concerned, they should be against the wall. Every last one of them. Put them against the wall, put them in a hole in the ground. Okay? Like they did in France. Well done.
But you're not inciting or suggesting anyone do it, but yeah.
Well,
I understand. No. Deletion, deplatforming. Watch out.
I don't know. It is a truly terrible state of affairs when we celebrate these mass murderers, right? Now, the same thing. Let's say Hitler's children, right? Let's say he had children. For argument, he didn't.
He probably did.
Well, he might have. Yeah. But the point is, let's say, there they are, and now they didn't have anything to do with the stuff that he did, right? But they're getting money from all the things that he did, and they get book rights and movie rights and all that. There would be an outcry. If
100%, yes.
Or even a great grandchild of Hitler's, or even a great grand nephew, if they were making any money off that particular fame, there would be an outcry. So the only difference here is that Hitler lost, okay, and not enough time has passed. These are the two differences between him and the royal families of the world, not just the British royal family, all of them. They are the worst criminals in the history of the world, and I need you guys to understand that. The worst criminals, the worst mass murderers of all time are the royal houses of the world. Because they have, like you said, they have the long view. They don't give a hoot.
That's right.
About the little people. Not even accidentally.
No.
Okay. So that's what you have. That's where you stand. And I have no time for them whatsoever.
So, look, I think a poignant little example of how they don't care is, the Queen's Guard. Well, there's pictures of them this week being watered by tourists because it was 40 degrees. And they're still there in their, outrageously uniformed uniforms, which are thick woolen tops with the big headdress. There was no way to escape the heat wearing that. It only makes you hotter. and the tourists were giving them water. So why don't they have the ability to get water themselves? Well, it's not in the rules. You can't do that. You know?
Exactly.
Just die and think of England. And wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's clearly there's workers' rights, and then there's that.
Workers' rights. You're funny. That's a fairly recent acquisition of ours. You know, we discussed this many times before. But so that's all I have to say about the monarchy. There, I really have no time, because the thing is, look at all the good they're doing. Okay, look at all the chaos and all the hardship and suffering they have caused and are causing still. The church has fallen in the same category for me as well. So yeah, all these institutions, bottom of the ocean. Good start. No, but today is September 11th, obviously, and 21 years have passed since the event that changed the world, in my opinion, forever. But I had a really strange experience, Dave.
Oh,
on
how
that,
so?
Because, well, I was looking to put together like the 9/11 show, obviously, to revisit, and there's actually a lot of material that has recently come to light, which we will go through as well. So I think everybody on the horn, we will probably look. Dave and I are going to spitball this. We may just finish Hybrids, which is probably another 3 or 4 shows, and then we're going to go into 9/11, because there's a whole generation that was born in America, Dave, and has attained the right to drink without ever having witnessed 9/11.
That's right.
So children that were born on that day, they can now drink legally. Think about that for a second. Okay, and a lot of the knowledge is lost. We don't know what happened. But this is what really disturbed me, because you know what we're like. When you and I, we researched this in some detail and went through our show notes as well. We created, like, we had 60 pages, and now I think I'm up to 80 pages or something like that for the revised version. But this is one thing that really bothered me. Okay?
What's that?
And I have no explanation for it. I remember when we did this first, and this was like many years ago, right? When we first did the 9/11 show, I think it was show 157, 156.
Yep.
The head of security for the World Trade Center, John Patrick O'Neill, I think it was, right? He was hunting Osama bin Laden, all that stuff as well, but more than that, he was also head of Clinton security at some point. Okay? Now, I can't find any reference to that at all, anywhere. Right?
I thought he was related to the Bushes or something. I can't remember, or placed there as cousin or something.
Yeah. You see, this is the thing. Now, I know for a fact, because I spoke about this at length when we presented it in the show last time, but I haven't listened to the actual show itself, right? But I spoke about it at length about, how it's convenient, how so many people died on that day, and I made a point of, like, look at who died and who didn't die on that day, right? And because he would have known a lot of stuff, and I'm not even sure it was John Patrick O'Neill that was the name of the person, or even that's the way he looked when we just did the show 10 years ago, or thereabouts. But it was really, I know that we talked about, and I know that he was head of Clinton security, or working for the Clintons in the Security Foundation, and he had just been made the head of security for the World Trade Center. And now this John P. O'Neill had also just been made head of security, and he was actually hunting Osama bin Laden, and he left the FBI disgraced because he never got his man. Ironically, then of course he dies in the 9/11 attack. But for me, Dave, this was another sliding moment, because I know, without doubt, in my mind, that there was a connection to Clinton security, and it was very convenient to just have him die, together with all the documents that were destroyed, as you remember, in all these buildings, etc., etc. And for the life of me, I can't find any link to any of that anywhere. Nothing. There's nothing at all that links him in any which way to the Clintons or security. And I'm not even sure it was John Patrick O'Neill back then who was the head of security.
It was.
Yeah, I know, for you.
Yeah, that's right.
You.
Yeah, oh, I see what you're saying.
Not for me. It's another Mandela kind of thing. And but things I know for a fact that link was there between the person that was head of security for the World Trade Center and that was killed, and the Clinton family. I know that because I harped on about it, right? Whereas now in this particular timeline or reality or whatever you call it, this track, it just doesn't exist. So, so that for me, when I was going through it over last week, and I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it. And I went through our show notes. It's not in there either, and I know it was there. So
that's crazy.
Sorry, Dave.
Did you know?
It looks.
I saw a story. I saw a story this week. That scientists now believe that the Mandela effect is real.
Well, it is absolutely real.
Oh no, but I'm just saying that they've actually made a call.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what prompted that insight? Do you know?
No, I don't. There was a story that came out this week about it, and it was like New Scientist or something like that. But I'll look it up. To find the context.
So when you say real, it is because what they're saying right now
is actually a thing.
So not misremembering or having misfiled memories which appear, but then there's like a time. There's a time discrepancy.
They're saying that there's definitely two groups of people that remember an event differently.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And
that's because the event has changed.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. That's heartening and terrifying at the same time. But having said that, we are now today on the 21st year. This is the bringing to the 21st year since it happened.
Here we go. I found the story.
Oh, brilliant! Just if you can ping it to me.
I have.
Now, thank you, sir, and your false memories, right? So, one of the things that I want to share with everybody very, very quickly, because it's important, and look, we'll share this in totality with you, of course, over the course of the next few show cycles after the hybrids. But this is important. Everybody's making a big hoo-ha about World Trade Center 7, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Well, WTC 7 just collapsed. Makes no sense. Now, what happened is this: there was actually a paper or study conducted, which I downloaded. Of course, I did. It's a PDF. It's free. Anyone can have it. I've got the link in the show notes, and actually, I'm going to pop it into the chat now for everybody to enjoy. But essentially, what it says here. Now, this is people that are structural engineers, etc. So this was prepared by Leroy Halsey, PhD, PES, the University of Alaska Fairbanks, Jili Kwan, PhD, Bridge Engineer, South Carolina Department of Transportation, Feng Xiao, PhD, Associate Professor, Nanjing University of Science and Technology, Department of Civil Engineering, Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, College of Engineering and Mines, Institute of Northern Engineering, University of Alaska Fairbanks, etc., etc., etc. Right? So these are engineers by trade. These are they're lecturers as well. But what they found is this. The principal conclusion of our study, this is from the abstract, is that fire did not cause the collapse of WTC-7 on 9/11, contrary to the conclusions of NIST, NIST, which is the National Institute for Science and Technology, and private engineering firms that study the collapse. Contrary, right? The secondary conclusion of our study is that the collapse of WTC-7 was a global failure involving the near simultaneous failure of every column in the building.
80.
Yes.
80 columns.
The secondary conclusion is that the collapse of WTC-7 was a global failure involving the near simultaneous failure of every column in the building. The only way, unless it's an act of God, the only way this would be happening, I should say, is if you blew it up, right? If you destroyed them all simultaneously, that's what it means. They were all destroyed at the same moment.
Yep.
All of them. Okay. Now, the only way to do that in the world that I occupy is to attach demolition charges to each and every one of them, and then have them, blow up. Either in sequence, depending on how it's done, or at the same time. But the point is that there's no other explanation for it at all. And that, to me, by the way, this study came out in I'll tell you when, 2020, March 2020. And again, we didn't see it because this was the height of the pandemic.
That's right.
So a lot of stuff. So the Japanese changes to the law of animal-human hybrids, 2020, height of the pandemic. The finding that the collapse of the World Trade Center 7 building was in fact not at all how NIST portrays it. March 2020, height of the pandemic, and so on and so forth. I just wonder how many news stories we missed on top of that, to be honest with you. And the funny thing is this: so as we're doing this research, a lot of I guess you call them mainstream publication, like the San Diego Union Tribune. It's like a mainstream paper, as well as the what's this one called? The Australian Independent Australia.net, and a few others. They're all coming up with articles like "The Unanswered Questions Surrounding 9/11," September 14th, 2021, published. And then this one here. Opinion. 2 decades after 9/11, many questions are left unanswered. Mm-hmm. So the point here is that while a whole generation of Americans has grown up and now is able to enjoy a beer in a pub since it happened, we have not had closure on this. And there's this open criticism on the 9/11 Commission report. I won't go into that, but once you listen to the show cycle, we'll get to it. But the question is, why did the 9/11 Commission not actually investigate anything? I mean, they didn't, right? That's just the thing. They didn't investigate anything. And yet here we are, right? 21 years later, all right? And still no answers are forthcoming. Because again, 21 years, and no one really has been held accountable in the government for the failure of that day. Right? Even if you don't believe that anyone had any prior knowledge to this event, and it was all just bad luck and incompetence. Mm-hmm. Show me who was asked to stand up and take the blame or be held accountable for this kind of failure. I mean, we're not just talking about, oh look, I forgot to make the photocopies for the meeting kind of failure. Or I mixed up the coffees, or I didn't get the right bagels, or whatever. This is something that cost thousands of people's lives, and then led to
non-scrambling of jets. NORAD ignored all of the calls.
Yeah. And we'll get to the deep detail and the depth of it.
Very important.
Once we get to the show cycle, we'll talk about all of that and have answers for all of it.
Why is no footage from the hotel or the gas station ever being released?
Yeah. So, but the thing is this. Okay, this 9/11 attack led to 20 years of a war that cost more than $2 trillion. $2 trillion. And it wasn't financed by taxes. It was financed by printing more money.
Woohoo.
And it cost the lives of 2,500 US soldiers.
That's awful. Yeah.
1,200 NATO allies. Yeah. 66,000 Afghan military members.
Was it $3 trillion down the hole in the Middle East?
Two. Yeah, altogether, yeah.
Probably.
Easily. 444 aid workers. Not to mention the disastrous events that unfolded in Iraq following that activity. So, I mean, this is massive. But and we know now for a fact that Afghanistan will take to the side, but after Afghanistan, let's go to Iraq, they said. And we know now, without a doubt, because people have admitted it, that the evidence to go into Iraq was either completely fabricated, an outright lie, right, or omission of the worst kind. And to his credit, Colin Powell felt that this was the worst day of his life when he was asked to present this evidence, in inverted commas, to the United Nations. Right? He had no choice. He was following orders. He had to, because he was told to.
Well, John Major was made a fall guy in England.
Oh, completely. Yeah. So this is where we're at, everybody, right? I mean, but again, where is the accountability? Who is being held
hilarious
to a highest? That's.
Look at you trying to get some action on it.
dude, I mean, one day I'll look back at my life and ask myself, well, did I do enough? And the answer is probably no, but I did something.
But at least you did something. That's right.
I will always stand on my little soapbox, even if it's on fire, and go, look, guys, this is where we are. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Hey, guess what? I wanted to lighten it a little bit here and just talk about something that scientists have announced. Yes, it was back in June, but time slips on you. And that was that scientists have discovered a plastic-eating worm.
Nice.
It even digests styrofoam. So if you want to get rid of it, I mean, it can eat just entirely, purely styrofoam and still live.
What does it poop out, Dave?
I don't know. It doesn't talk about the excrement.
Gold is the answer. Gold. No, it doesn't.
It says scientists long search for microbes or insects enzymes that could help break down durable plastics like polystyrene. A beetle known as the Zophobas morio might have it. So it's a darkling beetle. That's pretty much it. It says unique mixture of bacterial enzymes that can digest polystyrene. I mean, I can melt polystyrene into petrol. That's a party trick, but no, this is actually pretty good. So I don't know. Mini recycling plants is what it calls out here, and into smaller chunks that insects can absorb. That's all it says. It doesn't say what. So, but look, if you're a Red Dwarf fan, then the nanobots that can, you program them to eat the skins off potatoes, for instance, in one of the episodes, accidentally got loose and ate the clothing of all of the people on board ship. Because it was really similar, apparently. So, that's not going to go wrong on us, is it? I heartily look back to the cane beetle, Mickey. There's that, because that solution didn't go well with the cane toads.
Well, we'll just get lions to eat the cane toads. What's wrong with that?
Lions.
And then we get dinosaurs to eat the lions, and then we get Cthulhu.
Yeah,
the dinosaurs.
Cthulhu.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Just destroy the planet. That should get rid of it. Yeah. Anyway, I had to lighten it up because that's the thing that could go wrong. They go into a plague proportions, and suddenly, everything that's plastic these days. I mean, imagine the Coca-Cola bottling plant. Yep. All the plastic gets eaten before it's used. That'd be hilarious. Yes. It's more so our fate to have to endure such a calamity because of the choices we're making now. Just let it be. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I saw that we're pulling, so many hundreds of tons of plastic out of, removing the island of plastic from the Pacific and the Indian Ocean, which is really good. That's great. Where are we putting it? We need a big pit with these things in it, right? Is that what we need?
No, you shoot it into the sun. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. We could do that with, depleted uranium.
Yeah, together with Space Ark 2.
Yeah.
What spaceship are you on? The second one. Oh, okay.
There was delays to the first one, so look, we've got our golden ticket. We're on the first one. But all the middle management and telephone hygienists.
Yeah, Spaceship 2. Yeah, hey, how come we haven't got any supplies? There's no supplies here, guys.
It's in the next ship coming. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Don't worry, you won't need it. You won't need it. What? Speaking of spaceships, just very quickly.
Yes, another Starship launch and another NASA fail.
Oh, I know, but this.
And what's the other one?
Actually, no, this is completely different.
They've shelved it.
They did?
Yeah, the Blue Origin one.
They shelved it?
They've just given up.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, I've got some positive news here.
All right.
There's this new technology being developed which will use laser, I guess, to push spaceships into space. Essentially making this trip to Alpha Centauri here, which would take about 6,000 years.
Oh, yeah. That's
able
good.
to be completed in a human lifetime or less. So it's about 4.37 light years, but car technology will take us 6,000 years to get there, which is very long, in case I didn't make that clear. Whereas this new technology could see it reduced to decades, right? Now, this would use lasers to provide the push.
Yeah, but
right?
that push doesn't last very long.
Well, continuous lasers.
They're pulses,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So look, it is still going on, but it has to be a perfect mirror. I mean, a lot of things have to go, right here, and a lot of things need to. But if we were to do it, right? The object is about 10 meters or so across that they're looking at the moment. But the point is, it would take 22 years to reach Alpha Centauri, not 6,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you start in your 20s, let's say your mid-20s, that's when in your best shape anyway. You start the mission, you get to Alpha Centauri when you're in your mid-40s, hang around for a couple of years, and then get back in your mid-60s. Now, while you would give your life to the mission, in many ways, I mean, you still live while you do whatever you do, but it is now something that is certainly in the realm of the feasible for humans to achieve, right? So that would be and we probably would send unmanned probes first anyway, right? To see what happens. It'd be funny once our technology advances, those probes would be overtaken by
every single decade. They'd be overtaken by the next developed technology.
Yeah, that's fun. It's actually fun.
The technology to go faster than light now is being worked out on paper, and it's now
the whole wormhole. Yes.
Yeah. So now the next step is that we could be interstellar, from one star system or one galaxy to another, which is, we'll just fold space and it's all good. No one's going to care anymore.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you send today, we're going to overtake them in a minute. It just doesn't matter.
You see, Dave, I think this is all, it didn't come to a head, but certainly in the public's mind and for what's feasible, ever since the Tic Tac thing was...
Yeah, it's all come back up now, hasn't it?
Well, let me put it this way. It is a real phenomenon. Whatever it is, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it is. It doesn't obey the laws of physics as we understand flying machines should behave. But what it shows you is that it can be done. And if somebody knows that something can be done, then eventually we will be able to do it. The point I'm trying to make is, if you're working toward a goal and you keep failing, you'll probably eventually give up, right? But if you see it working, if you have evidence that something is actually achievable, then you have a much better chance of achieving it yourself, right? So you will actually be able to create maybe machines that will operate like this Tic Tac thing does, and maybe faster than light travel with that thing is a thing, because we think there are gateways involved here. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch, other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about gateways. And, in essence, really what we're talking about is wormholes. The Einstein-Rosen bridges of physics lectures. And that's the music.
This is David Mackey, Shiny Side Out. This is the end of the first hour. We're going to catch you on the other side of the top of the hour for Shiny Side Out Part 2, where we'll be talking about something you'll find out next hour. See you in a second.